All right, great day, everybody. Welcome to another incredible episode of the Gale Show. I'm Matthew Britt, coming at you from Ottawa area. And as always, my good friend, Mr. Gale. Great to see you, buddy.
Hey, you too, brother. Oh, gosh, I just got done with a great meeting with one of our permaculture designers, Doug Crouch, and he is fantastic with the details. And during the show, we were talking about how to brand and name things. And I basically asked them, what would be better, Seeds of Abundance or the Gale Show? Because I've had this thing in my heart where I want it to be something else. And what they came up with was Seeds of Abundance with, and then it could be with me, it could be with you, it could be with Natasha. We could actually put Seeds of Abundance as the headliner, then with Gale or whoever, right? So it kind of combines the elements. So I just want to let everybody out there listening know that it might take a little while to make the transition, but we're going to make the transition to Seeds of Abundance. So be prepared for that. And I'm very excited about our guest today, Natasha Ray. How are you doing today?
I am amazing. I am so blessed to be here. Blessed and highly favored always.
Wow, that's so beautiful. So we were talking a little bit before the show about some of your history and some of the things that you want to share with the audience today. And I love this topic. The world needs healing from traumas of all kinds. So please share with us a little bit of your story, as much as you'd like. And I'd love to learn and how we can grow from that.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. I'm happy to be here. I'm delighted to share what I call the truth of a matter. And when we have a testimony, the testimony of our life is the truth. And very often that will give people the right and the power to be set free in a thing. So I do a lot of holistic health and healing. I've been walking this journey for over a decade now. I make medicine, from the earth and products so that it helps to heal and align the system. We really are from dirt, and to dirt we will go. And so our bodies understand the things that are grown in the dirt. Sometimes the things that we're called to are also the things that we're attacked in. I was born very unwell. I always had some sort of illness or problem in my body, in my system. And so I was often and frequently seeing a doctor. I was on medications of all different kinds for many years, even after I had one of my children. And there was a particular time when I was not getting better. I was sometimes sleeping all day. My children were left by themselves. I couldn't get out of bed. I'd have to crawl to the kitchen to feed them. It was actually very traumatic for both them and myself. Upon being on one certain medication the doctor gave me, I recall this night I was at a Bible study. And I had this pressure and this pain in my brain, and I couldn't handle it. I had to leave and go sit in my car. By the grace of God, one of the sisters came out and sat with me, thank goodness, because I was ready to smash my head through the car window. I couldn't deal with the amount of pressure in my head from the new medication I was given. The reason I want to share this is because also in my family, we have seen suicide. We have seen death by the hand of the doctors, changing of medication that causes suicide. This is a very real thing that needs to be talked about. You are chemically not, the hormones and the things that go on in our bodies as we're growing cannot be reduced with a chemical. They need to organically heal. They need to organically grow. So when we are suppressed with a chemical that doesn't align with our systems, our bodies don't know how to function with it. It doesn't want it, and so it will oftentimes go out of control. Now, I remember as I went further along with the doctor, starting to ask, has this product been on the market for 10 years? I was very smart. My mother told me I used to tell the doctors to F off when they were going to do surgery. I've many times at 19, I waited 6 months to see a doctor who wanted me on 7 medications. I was 19, and I asked him if he even has an education and why he wasted my time to come and see him. I've had to outwit 2 doctors in my small town by figuring out what was going on within my own health. Now, 9 times out of 10, you're looking at a hormonal dysfunction. And if it's not, it's demonic. Probably you need some deliverance. That's another show. But 9 times out of 10, it's a hormone imbalance. You know, kids grow up, you're 13, you're 14, your hormones change, your body's changing. The worst thing we can do is put a synthetic in it when it's organic body.
Yep.
So I started to do my own research. I came across this book. I prayed a lot. I came across this book by Lorna Vanderhaeg. She's a hormone specialist. And I opened this book and it was full of hearts and pink. And I'm like, this is for me. I love hearts. I sign everything in hearts. So upon reading it, I wept because the thing she was saying was so much aligned with my life. And that's where I did start my healing journey, was when I started to find out what was going on with Natasha, what was not aligned with Natasha, and taking responsibility for Natasha herself without running to somebody else to help me. The reason I'm saying that is because we have an inner knowing of our bodies. Ain't nobody on this planet knows us like we know us. Because the Holy Ghost, God is with us. He has knitted us. He's given us an inner knowing. We need to stop shrinking into little babies and running to somebody to fix our problems. We are the creators of things. We can have the knowledge and wisdom to figure these things out. So that's where my journey started. I started doing research. I slowly, I went to some Chinese medicine. I bought some stuff. Damiana was my first herb, and I used that herb to slowly come off the meds from the doctor. And I am sitting here before you now, a creator of medicine. I can't say that, so that's why I'm doing that. But elixirs and things from the earth to align one's body back to the way it's supposed to fully function. We are having to come up against the water, the air, the doctors, the jabs, if we can say that, I don't know. And all of the other tactics, the things in our water and soil that make it even more difficult for us to heal. So this is a perfect time to be educated, just kidding, to be educated in what's going to bring healing to our system.
Wow. There's something else that just happened on the show, and it's directly relevant to what you're talking about. In Sun Tzu's book, The Art of War, know thy enemy, know yourself, right? Who is our enemy? And this can be a complicated topic, and I won't get really too off track other than to say this. This fellow is a food forest installer, designer and installer at the highest level. He's incredibly knowledgeable. And he was talking about, while he was doing a food forest installation, which is healing the soil and the land, which, by the way, it's the same microbiome in the soil as it is in our guts, right? It's amazing. So he's talking about healing. And up next to him on the neighbor's property comes a True Green lawn care truck. First of all, there's so many lies in the name. True Green Lawn Care. It's just like the medical system. So then while he was talking, I had this intuition. I said, well, I wonder who owns True Green. So I clicked over and I typed it in, and it's an investment firm called Clayton Dublier and Rice. Then I typed in, is Clayton Dublier and Rice associated with BlackRock? Of course they are. They're partners. BlackRock is the true intention. True Green is the lie. BlackRock is the intention. And then you look at who else BlackRock invests in, and it's exactly what you're talking about. It's the pharma, medicine, poison producers that were harming you. Does that make sense? Does that align with what you've learned?
And you can't make money if you don't have sick people, right? So if they're not sick and they don't stay sick, and we can't rob them of their lives, then we don't make any money. It's been around since the beginning of time. It comes from above, from the darkest of the dark above, and it just waters down down to us. And that's why even during, I don't know if you guys can use that word, the Ovid, that was when a time when I was able to use all of my inner knowledge to come forward. And I was a whistleblower. I was speaking at the Ledge building in Alberta, speaking over the freedoms, working with Action for Canada to fight against, to let people know that there was murder coming down, that they were being murdered.
Yeah.
And you know, it's so frustrating to me now, because many of the people that I've even dreamt about, or I've kind of let them know, they have now passed. And it breaks my heart, because we are not to perish like this. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. And because of that, you know, that fighting and that whistleblowing, there was a point at that where I was like, okay, I've done what I can to get the word out of all this darkness, these people that are working together to murder our people, you know. And it doesn't, that's the thing, is like, we think about Hitler and all those things, and we think it's got to look like a big war. It doesn't. They're getting smarter on their tactics on how to take out millions of people.
Yeah.
And there was a point where it just started to get so heavy on me because of what I was seeing happening. And that's when the Lord said, now it's time for healing. And that's when I transitioned. And that's when I started going into the forest, into the woods, and I would see a thing and I would know internally, instinctively, that that was something for health. And I've been doing that now for over a year. And some of the things I've created they're unbelievable. Some of the things I've learned just from the stuff, the medicines, the things from the earth are incredible. And I remember saying to a doctor one time, many years ago, this is the one I outwitted. I said, why are you taking the stuff from the earth when we can just use that instead? And he goes, well, yes, it's true. We take this stuff from the earth and then we take it to a factory and we add a synthetic to it. And I'm like, dude, I'm not an idiot. Why would I want to put a synthetic in my organic, beautiful organic body?
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, even some of them, they have no education on what's happening.
No.
So if we don't take care of each other, this is a time of community, and share the education that we have, more will perish. I say it's like the ants, you know? Ants are small and minuscule by themselves. They cannot create that huge tower. But when they come together, they will create the biggest tower that'll grow and just be full of, everybody can reside, everybody can be in, but it takes them to work together. Because a little, when they're by themselves, we can stomp them. Together, they're powerful.
Yes.
You know?
It's so funny. Even in the show Ants, they talk about exactly that. And of course, every big Hollywood show is basically a metaphor about what's going on in the world right now. Oh,
I know.
You bring up so many good points around the bombardment of chemicals and synthetic products into our life, coming at us from every direction, and what people need to do to detoxify, get those things eliminated from their system, and then go about rebuilding their health. What are some of the strategies that you're teaching people about how to, one, remove those things, and then two, rebuild their health?
So during COVID, I don't know if I can use that word. I don't want
Yeah,
yes, you can.
Okay. I was an ivermectin dealer. So I had a lot of elderly people who were in old folks home that would message me and be like, I need some Ivan. I'm like, hey girl, I got you. And I was ordering it from a horse place, you know, and I was having it shipped. I did all the research, and that's how I began to save people and protect them. So now I've upgraded. I still do ivermectin. It's in a 99.9% pure form. That is your first place, I believe, to do a healing. That was actually created by a Japanese gentleman who took things from the earth. It is all pure and natural. And that's why the FDA took it and wouldn't approve it for human consumption unless the doctors got it or it was for animals. That stuff is phenomenal. So that's how I start. I start with a massive detox. That's a good one. Activated charcoal is a good one. Greens are a good one. Something, what's the diatomaceous earth, food grade diatomaceous earth, stellar stuff. So all of these things, it has to start with a detox. The next thing I do, I put MMS in my water. I treat my water with chlorine dioxide. Every time I get it from the tap, I do that. And then I add a mineral dense sea salt to it in order for it to have minerals. because our water doesn't have anything.
Right.
I found that out when I was water fasting one time, and I almost died because back in the day, in the Bible times, when they would water fast, there was minerals in the water. It came from the ground. Now it's chemicals. So that shiznit will kill you.
Yeah.
So
what does MMS do for water? Yeah, that is really curious to me. I'd like to do that, but I don't know what it does.
So the chlorine dioxide, they do a little bit in the water already, but what it is it'll kill all of the chemicals, the parasites, everything that's inside the water. And actually that MMS, it's called the miracle solution. What is it? Mineral miracle solution or something like that. MMS, they banned it. There was a doctor I knew who was making it, and they were it was killing malaria in Africa and stuff. They came after him. He was just a small guy, wasn't making any money. They house arrested him and threatened his entire family. Like, it's dark, you know? Yeah. So I put that in my water just to take out whatever's in the water, because the water is toxic, people. Unless you're getting well water or a water source that you're healing, don't drink the water. Don't drink the water.
Do you know if it has an effect on the fluoride?
Yes, so it kills everything. Basically, it kills off what's inside the water so that it can't affect you.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. I've got to get that going.
Then it's because we have to have minerals. So you could also, the other thing I was looking at is getting rocks. You could find rocks in BC, something, pop those into your water cooler. That's why rushing water flows over the rocks. Everything God made has a purpose.
You know, I just
add salt.
I love
sea salt.
See, okay, I right now in my Berkey, I have a fluoride filter, and then I have an analemma water stick, and I have crystals in the Berkey. Does that? Wow. So it sounds like it aligns with what you're saying completely. I just need to add the MMS now.
Yeah, the MMS just killed, and that's a lot of too what they were using. If you were watching, certain doctors were talking about MMS during COVID to kill COVID. So I've tested all this stuff on myself, and then I tested on my kids. I never test on animals, just so that everybody knows. Me, kids, no animals. It's a running joke. It's okay. They're old enough to say yes. Yeah. So that way I know how this, and I've seen my children even flourish and heal through the things that I've been able to place in their bodies. Yeah. So I never ever suggest a thing or prescribe. So, I can't use that word, but I never suggest a thing or share a thing that I have not put inside my own system. Yeah. That's a rule that I walk by, because if I say it's good based on the fact that I'm still alive.
Yeah, and thriving.
Right. Yeah. And thriving. So that's kind of how I go about that stuff. But then after that, I think really what people need to understand is they need to get back to real foods. So things like McDonald's. When my kids, I used to give them money at the grocery store. Here's this amount of money. You're allowed to get this many things in the dry aisle, and everything else comes from the alive aisles. Okay. So anything in a box or a bag is dead. It's not a food, people. It's not a food. Yeah. Everything that is alive, that's got moisture and juices, and that's food.
Enzymes.
Okay.
Yep.
The rest is fillers, you know? So people's like, oh, do you like rice? Not really. Like, right. I'll put it on the side, but I ain't going to eat just rice.
Right.
So we have to remember that we have to have the right foods in our bodies. And I was just watching a video today, actually, of this brilliant woman who said, there was a time when malaria and polio and everything came out, and they just had better sanitation and nutrition, and it dropped down. When it dropped really low and everybody was healed, vaccinations came in, and everything spiked back up. Yep. So it's just a matter of just drinking your water. That's healthy. Like, don't drink the water from the tap, people. Okay. Making sure that we cleansing out our bodies, our hearts, our respiratories, because they are spraying the air. They're spraying the air. So you just have to make sure you're detoxing all the time, once a month, once every 6 months. Me and my family do ivermectin once a month for 5 days every month, because there's no way to get away from what's happening right now. The other thing is to start growing food. I have seeds that belong to everything, because I'm going to start putting them in the ground. Everything has medicine in it. Everything has a lining health benefits, every flower, every seed, every plant. And when you start to see what they do, it will blow your mind.
Yeah.
You'll just be like, whoa, I just thought that was pretty. I can eat that? Yes, honey, you can eat it, you know. So education, and what I do when I help people, I help a lot of people for free. I have an inner gift of knowing when somebody has a health ailment. I can tell both based on the spirit and on things going on in their skin and their body. It's a gift from heaven. It is not my own. And then the rest is my education for the last decade. I went to school because everybody needs diplomas and crap in order to be, you know. And every time I help a person, I will guide them, but they have to go now do their own research. These are people that don't pay for my services. They're just people that ask for help. I now ask them to go do research, that they check in with me and they see how it works in their body, because my heart is to awaken the understanding and the hearts of humans, right? So that they understand that they are actually powerful and can actually take care of themselves. That's the key, because then we won't run to these vaccines and to these doctors, and we won't see murder going on that way. And now that's my heart. That's how I see the world.
It's absolutely beautiful. And one of my teachers, Louise LeBrun, back about 15 years ago, talked about autopoiesis, right? Creating your own poems, being self-governing in every way, and learning these simple things. Medicine is insanely complicated. You can't even pronounce half the damn things on there. But nature is, even though nature is infinitely more complicated, we don't have to look at it from that perspective. We just go outside and let thy food be thy medicine. You know, it's so simple when we come back to what you mentioned, how you get ideas from heaven. And I meditate often, multiple times a day, hundreds actually. Every 3 breaths I'm in meditation when I intend to be. And then that's when the ideas come, right? That's when all of a sudden we start getting downloads of information from some epic divine place. Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah, the last 2 elixirs that I've just created, one's called a conception tea elixir and the other one's called a jab tea elixir. Those are both dreams that I had from heaven. And then I had the help of the unction of the spirit to help me create them. And those are the 2 things that I've just created. The last 2 things I've just placed my hand to. And I have those now out. And that is just to bring that alignment to the DNA and the RNA, to clean out the blood and to get rid of the spike proteins in those that have been affected by. And we're also looking at healing the wombs of the women and the ovaries, because the spike protein likes to sit in the ovary. So we need to be healing those things because we need next generations to be born. And I don't want to go off on a rabbit trail, but if you look in the Bible, the devil always tried to kill all the children when he knew that there was major people coming forward. Moses, Jesus, he'd have all the children murdered, right? Why is he trying to take out children now? Because we're going to raise a generation to overcome the enemy and to overcome the darkness that's been here and the secrets that's been hidden all this time. And so we really have to take responsibility for helping these next generations and creating things to bring healing to those that have been affected over that last season, because the season to come is going to be a lot darker, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For those who do not see the light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our most recent episode, actually, of the Jim Gale Show and the podcast version that came out this past Friday, we spoke with Tim James from Chemical Free Body, and he referenced an experience he went through with one of his friends who was diagnosed with serious cancer. They chose to go to the Hippocrates clinic in Palm Beach, Florida, to take on this cancer diagnosis outside of the medical system. And this place has successfully treated tens of thousands of people, incredible track record and whatnot. But Tim was more of a redneck, right? So he wasn't really used to what things were going to be coming when he got to this location. And they had everybody, going into the wheatgrass and doing consistent juicing in that regard, as well as other juicing. Meats were all removed. But one of the most profound things that Tim talked about was cleaning out your intestinal tract and the amount of impacted fecal matter in most people today, average 6 to 12 pounds, 6 to 12 pounds of old rotting garbage in your intestinal tract and colon, which is poisoning us from the inside out. And he really recommended something that they all went through. Pretty much everybody who was at this location was the colon hydrotherapy, right? Colon water therapy. And have you had any experience with that? I'm looking at doing it. I know Jim was talking about doing it too after listening to Tim.
My wife and I did it. We've done it now. She did 3 times. I've done it twice, and it is very, very. I'm very glad I did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Natasha, have you any experience with that?
No. I like everything to go one way out. I don't go back in. So that's not really my jam. But I do know, I've heard that it works quite well. I use things that help it to go out. And so I don't really worry about that. But, definitely, I think that we should be talking about the epidemic of parasites. And if we were to talk about an epidemic in the world, it would be parasites. And that's, what causes cancers. And that's what causes all these things that, people can't heal their systems. So, and again, I come back to things like ivermectin or diatomaceous earth. Cleaning out your system from the parasites and cleaning that will really flush out that too, because a lot of stuff gets stuck in there when the body's not functioning properly, and the parasites will take all your minerals. You get up and have a glass of water with mineral dense sea salt in the morning, that'll flush your bad boy out, no problem. Every day you get up, the first thing you do, you have that lemon water with your salt and you have a flush, But yes, everything that gets caught up there is toxic. It is toxic to the system, and it has to get out.
I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna lemon water with like Himalayan sea salt. I bet would be good.
It is. I prefer Redmond's. The brand is Redmond's. He makes a mineral dense sea salt, and the brand is Redmond's. And because here's the other thing with water that people don't understand. When you drink lots of water and you pee, that means nothing is being absorbed. The way you absorb it is if you put even one crystal of salt on your tongue before you drink water, it'll help the water to absorb. So when you take this mineral dense sea salt with your water, it's actually absorbing the minerals into your body. So you can have that, better skin, you look refreshed and rehydrated, things like that. And then of course you have all your minerals in your system for full functioning system, right? But the water we have is not created with minerals. So you could drink water all day long and pee all day long and you're really not getting anywhere. I wouldn't say don't do it, but the benefits that you're trying to reap, you are not.
Gotcha. Wow. I'm getting a lot of good ideas here.
So a Facebook user is asking, why lemon?
Lemon is a liver detoxifier. So it goes in and cleanses the liver. The liver is kind of the place that needs to heal the whole system, right? All the blood flows through there, up through the spine and through your body. We want to keep those livers clean. Many people drink alcohol, and alcohol really affects the liver. Fatty liver will cause a lot of health issues in your body as well. When you're eating things or taking medications, everything goes through the liver. So the liver has to try to clean out all these medications, McDonald's, alcohol. So we need to every day keep our liver happy. So lemon is like the sunshine and the liver is smiling.
I love it.
Idea behind that, right?
And we have so many lemon trees and lime trees and medicinal herbs at Galt's Landing. The whole thing is like loaded with this stuff. So I'm just having some good visions. My mom just had a brain tumor cut out, and it's might be carcinogenic. And we're building a little home for her to live in right here. I can't wait to have her here.
Aww.
With that stuff.
Would limes work as well as lemons?
I don't use lemons typically. I do use the lime instead. I don't know the answer to that. So I'm just going to say, if you want to try limes instead, you go right ahead. But I've always taken to the lemon. That's what I've used. I do lime in my guacamole, but I don't really drink it. So that's just not something that I do. And I also want to let people know that when you are taking it to not overdo it. You know, once in the morning is enough because it is an acid. Okay. So you want to keep that in mind, that when you're drinking it with your water, not to do it all day long. You do it once in the morning and let it be, because it is an acid. That's like when I tell people if they have thyroid issues, if they're a little bit overweight, if they have candida, I always recommend coconut oil with apple cider vinegar. This thing, coconut oil with apple cider vinegar, is a miracle together. I always recommend, though, because the apple cider vinegar, when it hits your belly, goes alkaline, but until then it's an acid. Take your coconut oil first and then take your apple cider vinegar, because it puts a coating down the throat, right? And if you really want to get healed, like 3 times a day, a tablespoon of each 3 times a day, but of course start small. Start 1 time and then move up to 3. You'll lose weight, you'll glow, you'll get rid of candida, your thyroid will be healing. Yeah, that's just a little nugget I'll throw in there that I often tell people about. It just really brings a huge alignment to their belly health. It's just good fats. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I learned this guy, Dr. Robert Young, a while back. I was studying him and some of the stuff he was doing. And one of my buddies at the time was big into, what was the name? It was some rum and Coke, but it was that Captain Morgan. It was just disgustingly sweet. And he would take out the lime because he had an ulcer in his stomach, and he believed that the lime added to the pain of the ulcer, when in actuality, lemons and limes leave an alkaline ash. They're actually the solution to a stomach ulcer, which just blew my mind. Of course, he's taking out the healing element out of the poison and throwing that in the trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Like I always say, protect it on the way down because it's an acid, but when it hits the belly, it's an alkaline, and it's so important because cancer doesn't like alkaline, right? It has to be out an acid. So that's what they say. But yeah, if I could recommend today 2 things to change people's lives, I would first tell them to detox their systems. That is so huge. You have to get the heavy metals out. You have to get the chemicals out, and look at the parasites. People don't, 1 in 4 people have parasites, and that doesn't mean because you travel to another country. You got it from the salad that you bought at the grocery store. You got it when you were playing outside or doing the gardening and you had a cut. You got it from all kinds of things. I guarantee everybody has it. You need to deal with it. Your whole life will change. All these other ailments that you're having problems with are probably stemming from having parasites. It's not a big deal. Just deal with it, get rid of it, tell those invaders to beat it, and then you'll start to feel so much better, because your body can't absorb anything. They eat everything. They eat everything. And then, you know, some people don't see that as a balance diet, but pick something that works. Apple cider and coconut oil works really great. You know, so just picking something magical or whatever, if you would, that will work for your body, so you can see some difference and changes, so that you feel more adapt to make greater changes in your life. I always tell people, don't get overwhelmed, start small. And then that way, as you see what you've done for yourself, it'll empower you to do a new thing and another thing. And before you know it, you'll be your own amazing health guru. Hello. You know, and that's what we want, you know.
It sure is. Happy. What you're talking about is anybody can do this. You do not need to have any type of fancy knowledge or degree. Literally, the knowledge that people are getting on this show from you will absolutely change their lives if they're not already doing it, right?
Yeah. So my last couple of people that I've worked with, one, she hadn't had her period in a year. I put her on some stuff, basic stuff, magnesium, vitamin D, burdock root. Those are some of the things, greens. What else did I have her on? B12, but a B liquid under your tongue, because B12 is in the belly, is where it absorbs, and everybody has freaking belly issues, right? Within a month and a half, she's got her period. The other person I've worked with, he now can function. He's not over emotional, and he's already lost 2 belt sizes. And I've only been working with him for a month and a half. So yes, I believe that the things that I share are the knowledge of what was knitted into me and knit it into all of us. And it's also just doing research. Yes, I have a passion for it and I'm willing to help, but start at a place, start small, do a thing for yourself, and then realize that you can figure it out. You can test it on your body or see if your body likes it. Don't be afraid. The doctors are testing stuff on you anyways, honey. They are testing on you. You're a test victim. You're better off to test on yourself with natural stuff from the earth than the chemicals that are murdering you from the doctor. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but it's also valid because I've been there,
Yeah.
done that, and I see it every day. So, you know, it's just about getting into that place where just you realize you can. And if you want to be tested on, test on your freaking self, man, and start small with things of the earth, and you'll be okay.
Oh,
You know?
and this concept, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. People sit with that for a second. I mean, you know, my mom, if she would have started a process of using these solutions earlier, I'm certain she wouldn't have had a brain tumor. You know? Because that's what happens when we treat ourselves with love and kindness and wisdom. And so everybody listening.
I just want to say, because I make mushroom medicine. So willow bracket and hoof mushrooms, they actually kill tumors.
Wow. That's amazing. So
yeah, I just started making that. I harvested a bunch of mushrooms and I did a bunch of research. And so when you said that, I was like, oh, I've got something for that.
That's fantastic. I would like to, we could email afterwards. I'd like to get some of that right away.
Yes.
I'm also going to talk with Tim James. Does colloidal silver come into your world at all?
Yeah, it's in my cupboard. So my go-tos that are always in my cupboard, my kids know to go to, always activated charcoal. It should be in every home because it'll bind to alcohol. It'll bind to poisons. If your kids drink anything under the sink, if they get into medication, it deals with snake bites. Activated charcoal binds quickly to any kind of toxin in the system and it holds it until it is flushed out of the body. Everybody should have that. Number 2, silver. That's your antibiotic. That'll clean everything. That'll heal your teeth. I have actually a gentleman who makes my silver. I've been buying from him for a while. He's out of Alberta. And yeah, always. It is always in my cupboard because there's certain things that you should always have. The other thing is always papaya enzymes because everybody has stomach issues. I carry papaya enzymes in my purse and that's for digestion. So when you go out and eat shatty food, which you're probably going to, make sure you have a couple of those ahead of time. You can also use it for babies. So babies that have colic, babies that have the runs, babies that are constipated, babies can use papaya enzymes. Listen, if I could just say, please don't give your baby the formula in a can. It's like Coffee Mate. It literally causes cancer. I plead with you, please. Goat's milk, it's got probiotics in it and it's healthy unto the babies. I'm just saying. But papaya enzymes is another thing I carry in my purse. You know, sometimes little kids have belly aches and they're chewable. I buy the best ones if you have kids is by the company Swiss. Swiss makes them, they taste kind of like candy. And so the kids will eat it as well. And yeah, you see within 5-10 minutes and their bellies are better.
That's amazing.
Do you do anything helping people improve the acidity in their stomach? Because it's one of the massively underdiagnosed conditions that many people have is low stomach acid.
Right. You know, the thing is, I always tell people they don't eat enough greens. So if you want to just heal your belly, you have to have your greens. You have to have your leafy greens. It's literally such a simple, easy thing, but it'll totally change your life. It'll also make your skin look better. The chlorophyll in it will heal the blood, your red blood cells. Leafy greens, green vegetables will heal your belly. I also make my own bone broth. And honestly, it is like a time true remedy. And I have started putting things like fennel, sage, thyme, rosemary. It is bomb. I can drink it right out of the fridge cold. Like you want to say it's a good bone broth, you can drink that baby cold. Bone broth has everything to rebuild the proteins in your belly, the belly liner. Wow. So even if you were to have that every morning after your lemon water, you will have such a huge difference. And it'll help with aging.
That collagen, right, in there?
lots of collagen in there, and all your amino acids. So for working out, that's where I do my biggest protein, because it's beef bones that I use, so everybody uses all this powder stuff. This girl just drinks her bone broth, and has all these other benefits, and then it helps me to stay strong and healthy.
Wow. Fantastic. This is great info. I've learned a ton on this show, and I'm excited to get a bunch of these things. So where can we find you? Where would you like us to go to find your work?
So you can find me on my website. You can email me. I have Instagram under Precious Purity Healing. I'm on Facebook under Natasha Ray. I'm very much somebody who likes to, I'm not a big emailer. Really, if you want to connect with me, send me a message. I'm kind of like, I'm the girl that likes to pen pal and write letters still and like stamp them with wax,
Cool.
So I want to be somebody of a human nature. Everybody said, Natasha, get it on the site and then you can sell it mass. God is my provider. What's important to me is that I reach each human, that no human is left behind. That's my heart. So sending me a message, over any of the social medias. You can email me. I'm a little slower on that. And even connecting through you guys, if somebody wants to get a hold of me. All my products right now that I sell, I exclusively sell out of Doubletree by Hilton. It's a hotel, and they're opening in new locations. And so because the harvesting of a product is such a beautiful thing that should be treasured. I won't be mass producing products because that's not my heart. You have to go into the earth. You take a thing, you put a thing back. You need to respect the earth. This isn't just our playground where we rob it and then we don't put it back. So everything I make is always like a featured product because it's created from the things that I have touched and pulled out of the ground with my own hands, that I've prayed over, with the intention to bring healing and health to our world. So yeah, any of those things, I've got a couple books out. You can just get a hold of me on my web pages or my Facebook or my Instagram. And I just even love to talk to you if you need somebody to talk to, because sometimes people just need somebody to say, yeah, you know what, you can totally do this. I've got your back. And hey, you guys, I've got your back, and you can totally do this. I believe in you. I do believe in you.
Love it. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Natasha. Matthew, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I think everything that you're doing is definitely massively needed right now. It's incredibly valuable. Human health is at an all-time low, especially in the West. We are poisoned in the mind. We're poisoned in the body. We're poisoned via our food and our relationships and spirituality. It's a hurting unit in general. However, there's a lot of light. There's a lot of solutions, and they're very simple. And you outlined many great ones today. And there's stuff that people can immediately take action on. They can experience an improvement, a benefit, experience some value, which you made a great point, right? Start small, make small incremental changes over time, and that will make a tremendous difference in your overall life. That 1%, 1 degree, right? You spread that out over a long enough time, and it's a massive split. So that life that you had, that old you can leave that behind really simply by making some small minor adjustments and repeat them, and then stack on more. So,
and I do want to just, send out a cautionary, and this is something that's on my heart because I am watching people still perish based on the vax or the jab or whatever you say. Listen, please, if you have family members that have done it, if you have done it, you do need to still realize that you have to get that stuff out of your body. Please don't ignore it because it will slowly take you out. That's what it was created for. It's a weapon. So, again, I just want to emphasize things like pine needle tea, pine needles, those help with the RNA, DNA, ivermectin, MMS. Please don't just let it sit in your system. Please understand that it is meant to take you out, and you don't have to be afraid. You do not have to be afraid of that. but you do need to take action. So if you have family that is done that, or you have, please take action. You can get a hold of me and I can help link you to something, or the things that I've even just said, but please just don't let it sit. It's not one of those things that just disappear. It needs to be dealt with. It needs to be smashed.
Oh, we couldn't agree more. Thank you so much, Natasha, for sharing that information. And Analemma water as well is one of those. And let's stack all of them, right? I mean, when we use all of nature's tools, God's tools, and come at these things, including meditation, spirit, joy, love, and service, we will overcome if we take the steps.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. Any final parting words?
No, I just want to thank you guys for having me today. I really appreciate, because it takes a lot to be whistleblowers. It takes a lot to gain the knowledge and wisdom and the fight and the courage to stand out in a time when many are being lost and many are being, nailed down for it. So I really commend you both in this time for standing up and doing a thing that is going to set so many people free. And so that is my prayer over you, that you are covered, that you are protected, that the Lord encompasses you with the angels of protection, and that you continue to go forward and reach many in many nations even, so that they can have the wisdom and knowledge to overcome what is coming. And just so that we can have generations of people who are set free and healed. So thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Wow. Thank you so much, Natasha. And we are now serving people in 51 countries and 49 U.S. states, helping them grow food and learn the type of things that you teach. So thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Ciao, everybody.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have an amazing day. I'll play a couple ads and let you two hop out of here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope everybody enjoyed today's conversation. Definitely the power to heal is within all of us. We just need to create the ideal environment for that to happen. And generally, there are a number of things that can be utilized from a natural healing perspective, specifically getting into growing your own food. Nature provides, nature's abundant. Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food.
At Weston A. Price Foundation, we're dedicated to restoring nutrient-dense, farm-fresh foods to the human diet. We look to ancient food and health practices for clues on how to live our healthiest, most vibrant lives today. Join the mission and check out our exclusive membership details at westonaprice.org. As a member, you'll receive our quarterly journal on wise traditions in food, farming, and the healing arts, our annual shopping guide, monthly access to private Q&A sessions with experts, consultations on state laws, regulations, and policies, including food freedom legislation, and so much more. Weston A. Price Foundation. Let's return to wise traditional foods.
Hey, Jim Gale Show listeners, again, thank you for tuning in. We love having you here. We're so honored. And, I wanted to give you a little bit of exciting news. We've decided to offer complimentary food forest strategy sessions with a certified permaculture designer. These are 30-minute sessions where you get to sit down with someone who can really help you with a strategy for your own property. It's a great chance for you to ask some questions and learn and just really to dig into what's possible. This is 30 minutes with someone who's certified, knows all about permaculture and what's possible using this incredible science and working with nature. So head over to foodforestabundance.com and schedule your 30-minute food forest strategy session today. Again, that's foodforestabundance.com. And remember, get yourself registered for that 30-minute strategy session. And for doing so, we're going to give you a $100 coupon as well. So get over there, have some fun, learn about what's possible for you and your own property, and let's get growing some food. Thanks again for tuning in to the Jim Gale Show. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. It was an incredible show, lots of value. Hopefully you took a few quality nuggets away that you can implement into your own life immediately. Detox is one of those critical things that I continue to remind myself. We've got so many chemical inputs coming at us from the air, the food, our clothes, our cars, our soaps and shampoos and creams and the water. The chemical burden on our system today is completely out of control. And it's because of that we are experiencing many chronic illness and lifelong chronic illness. And in order to really begin the healing process, you got to get that stuff out of your body. Detoxification is critical. Most people's detoxification systems are not working well. Things like the liver poorly functioning, the blockages in the colon, right? You heard me earlier mention the average person has 6 to 12 pounds of impacted fecal matter in their colons. And that is disgusting. And just think of all the toxins in there. You know, like, what is 6 to 12 pounds? Well, a large cat, a small dog, 12 pounds is a lot. How much better would you feel if that was removed out of your body? Anyways, detoxification, critically important on the healing journey. Get the chemicals and the toxins out of your body, give yourself a reset, and then go rebuild utilizing high quality foods, water, right? The supplementation. But again, that's another place you got to be careful on what it is you're buying. Thank you again for joining us on the show today. Hope everybody had a good time, got some value out of this. And we thank you all for joining us. Look forward to seeing you again soon. We actually have 4 more shows coming up this week. Dr. Eric Naputi from Neptune Wellness, or I guess Naputi Wellness. That's going to be a really good one. He was one of the first doctors really silenced during the whole events that took place over the past few years. He's going to be an excellent show. That's coming up Friday. On Thursday, we're meeting with Rob Avis of Verge Permaculture and Fifth World. He's got some incredible things he's going to talk about to prepare for the unprecedented and potentially extremely serious giga famine, he calls it, references it as. And then a number of other great guests. So it's just going to be an action-packed week. So hope you join us again. We have, as mentioned, 4 more shows coming up. They will be all shared on all of our social platforms. And we look forward to seeing you here and wishing everybody an incredible day. Thank you so much again for joining us. Take care.